What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode 21 of our Sochaux Let's Play here in Football Manager 2018. And today we start our first season here at the club in Ligue 1, the first time the club's been in this division for 5 years. As you can imagine, very busy summer. Make sure you do go and watch the end of season kind of reflection episode last time out for episode 20. Kind of went over the last season as a whole, and well, today we've got lots to get through, so let's talk about it. So first and foremost, I guess we'll talk about the transfer dealings and the finances. As you'll know, the board gave us about £7 million to spend going into the window. However, last episode we did sell on Leroy's clause, the goalkeeper who we sold to Liverpool in January. He had a 50% sell-on clause. We sold that for £7 million. So in the end, actually, we had quite a hefty transfer budget to work with. I have rebalanced the books a little bit to give us a little more wage budget, but well, if we look at the transfers here, we've been very busy. We did recoup some nice money, £4.2 million. I know people aren't going to be that happy with the player who made up the bulk of that fee. It was Axel Aktas, who went to Udinese. You can see here, looking at the scout summary, my scouts don't really rate him now he's left. Don't get me wrong, he was a very good player for us in our first year. Last year, we gave him 21 games. He really didn't shine in those all that much. He only had 1 year left on his contract, and he wasn't looking to sign a new deal. I think he was asking for £12,000, which would have made him the highest earner at the club at the time of selling him. So I decided to cash in on him whilst we could. It's a little bit of a bittersweet moment, really. £4.1 million received feels like a really good sum of money, however, and we have used that to reinvest in a few different areas on the pitch. Anyway, other players who left, Vasco Costa, of course, a player we signed in our first season in charge, never really left a mark on the first team, as well as this guy, Emil Rizpeki, a youngster who, again, just never really found his feet, was never going to be good enough for us in Liga, so we've moved him on. In terms of the transfers in, we've been very busy. Two players we talked about previously, but just to go through them again, we have here Libombi. Lebom. I feel like we should just call him the Bomb. He is the Bomb. He's the man. But you can see here, looking at him, very good centre back, 16 years old. Of course, we scouted him and found him through the fact he was playing for the under-20s French national team. We've only paid £1.2 million for him. Of course, there are a number of clauses lumped in there as well, but generally speaking, just a very good centre back option. We also brought in Federico Mattiello. Some of you may remember him from a number of episodes ago. This transfer arranged back in January. Joined us on a free transfer from Juventus. And I think he's going to be a good player for us. Good left back. Going to offer some competition for Pendant. Is injury prone, which is something we do need to monitor just carefully. But left back position really has been nailed down by Pedant for a number of years. So, yeah, we're mixing things up a little bit here. And, well, these two are going to be good competition for one another, I feel like, this season. Anyway, the next player we brought in, I'm going to call this guy Ali. He's Romanian, 18 years old. You can see here he was playing in Romania. He actually had a very good start or end to last season. We picked him up through the fact he was playing in the Romanian youth team. This year there was the French International Youth Invitational Youth Cup for under-19s. And, well, a number of my players were there, so I ended up scouting out the competition. And there were a few players like this guy who we found there. He looks like a good player, though. You can see here, 18 years old. Very good kind of core defensive attributes. Left-footed as well, professional personality. Hopefully he can develop into a good little player. Anyway, the next player we got here, Jordi Calavera. Good player, Spanish right-back, although I am also going to train him to play left-back. Of all the transfers I made, this is the one that I feel like, upon reflection, probably was the most necessary. Does come in as a backup, although he is earning quite a lot of money. £1.4 million, not exactly a massive outlay for him. But generally speaking, he's just going to be a good right-back option for us. I brought him in, really, to be competition with Fuchs, but then kind of things got jumbled around, as you'll see when we go through the team. So he isn't the only right-back we ended up getting in this year. And, well, the other right-back we ended up getting in is this guy, Diogo Dalot, who is a Porto youngster. A loan signing for 2 years. We've got him for till the end of next season. Only paying him £3,000 a week in wages, no additional fees on top of that. I think he's just a very good little right-back loan option, this guy. You can see here, playing in the Portugal youth setup. Looks exceptional as a right-back. Probably will be our go-to player to start right-back position this year, that with Fuchs now moving into the midfield. And, yeah, just a good little loan, really. Anyway, the bulk of our transfer fee actually went on to Argentine players. With us getting promoted, the number of non-European players we're allowed to have has doubled to 4. Of course, Dougie Pote was the only player containing one of those slots, so bringing in 2 players. The first one here, however, Thiago Almada, you will not actually see till next season. As part of the agreement to sign him from Vélez, I agreed to loan him back. But looking at this guy, 18 years old, playing in the Argentine under-20 setup, just looks like a very, very good player. Another player who we just kind of found through the grapevine of going through national youth teams. It's a really good method for finding players this year in FM. We've paid £3.5 million up front. However, there are 3 additional clauses, each totalling in at £1 million. Those are after 50 league games, we have to pay £1 million. After 20 international matches in the senior team for Argentina, we'll have to pay £1 million, and £1 million after 50 league goals. So those kind of performance-based clauses really mean he has to turn into a star for us to ever be paying close to that £6.5 million fee. Anyway, the other Argentine player, a player we do have access to immediately, is this guy, Gonzalo Moroni, signed from Boca Juniors. A very good player, attacking talent. You can see here, talented down the middle of the pitch. I was kind of looking for a player to play potentially out on the right-hand side this year. Kitongo is in the last year of his contract here, and he's wanting a big pay rise, which I don't necessarily feel comfortable giving him. And I feel like Moroni is really going to push him this year in the right mid position. Of course, composure and finishing a little bit of a weak spot in his game. We're going to be training him to play inside forward on attack. Despite the fact, of course, he is right-footed, I think this is going to be a good area to train him in. And then I think longer term, we might even train him to play on the left as well. But generally speaking, 20 years old, looks like a good little prospect for the future. You can see it could improve a lot in the future. Let's see how he gets on. First team football definitely going to be a factor in his development. Anyway, another youngster picked up through the French Invitational Youth Cup was this guy, Miroslav Vasek. You can see here just a very good attacking talent, 16 years old, although his birthday is coming up in a few months. 16 finishing really stands out with him. His acceleration's great, although his finishing's a little lacking, but the fairly professional personality again looks very, very good indeed, and he could improve a lot in the future. So a good player for us to have in our reserve. And well, with all the good intakes we've been having, there has been a little bit of a void of a real kind of good strikers. Of course, we have got Mohamed Assumption, but with the exception of him, Vasek is definitely one of our hot prospects. Anyway, the last player we brought in, Alberto Seri, joining us from Juventus. This is a one-year loan with a view to buy him at the end of the loan for £1.5 million, which would be an absolute bargain if he performs this season. I don't know how much we're going to be kind of calling upon him with Ducasse being in the team, but if Ducasse gets injured, we're going to be looking at Seri here to be the difference maker for us. It's a loan for a year, we're not paid a whole lot of money, and the option to buy at £1.5 million just seems like a really kind of solid investment. It's a relatively risk-free transfer. So anyway, that's a little bit about what's been going on here. In terms of the league, you can see here, this is the teams in the league. I'm a little nervous going into this year because last season, if we look at it, Runes and Le Havre, the two teams who got promoted ahead of us, both got immediately relegated back down. You can see here, Nice actually avoided relegation on goal difference, so that's pretty fortunate for them, and then they did win the playoffs. So with that in mind, I know that this isn't going to be an easy year for us. If we just look at our kind of little profile here, you can see media prediction is 17th, which would see us finish outside of the relegation zone. If we look at the season preview here, we are down at bookies at 400 to 1. Of course, the team with the kind of league largely made up of PSG and Monaco players. Looking down here, you can see Ducasse is considered an interesting player, as is Trincao. Worth noting this year, Trincao did sign a new contract to the club. He's now on £9,000 a year. Lots of clubs interested in him in the summer, but we've got him tied down for a little bit longer yet. It's a 5-year contract with an optional 2-year extension, so basically a 7-year contract if that's what we want it to be, which is really exciting actually to be in that kind of position. Of course, there are a few other players who did get wage rises this year. Ricardo Martin wanted a new contract. Inter Milan were interested in him, so I bit the bullet, and I have now made him the highest earning player at £11,500 a week. It wasn't necessarily an easy decision to make, but it felt like a necessary one. You can see, looking at the wage costs as a whole, we have kept them very, very low indeed, which I am happy about, because there's always that risk when you go up a division that you end up having to shell out a load of money. If we just look at the team overview stats, team detailed stats, and then at the salary per year, we have the second lowest kind of salary of any team in the division, and it's almost half that of even just a few of the teams above us. You can see Brest, who got promoted with us, theirs is even lower. They are not in a great spot. Obviously, we rely a lot on our younger players being sold to keep us afloat. We do have an overall balance of £7 million this year, and there is a lot more TV money in the division, so I'm not too worried about that. And we have still got a little bit of transfer budget to maybe look to strengthen the side if we want to, going into the transfer window closing in the not-so-distant future. You may have noticed that the overall spend that we made this year wasn't actually that massive. It was £6 million. That is because I needed to save some money for some other stuff that we've got going on. We've got both the training facilities and youth facilities being improved. Of course, the training facilities were already being improved, but the youth facilities are going to be improved for the kind of midway point of next season. But on top of that, we also were able to improve the youth recruitment and youth coaching budget, which is really exciting because obviously we've been getting in some pretty good youngsters, and with us continuing to focus on our youth facilities, it's going to put us in a great position. You can see here, excellent youth facilities, well-established youth recruitment, excellent junior coaching. I'm pretty excited for the future in terms of continuing to rely on younger players coming up through the team. Anyway, I talked about Actas leaving. It was a little bit of a shame, obviously not the ideal scenario, but when I look across this team now, I'm pretty excited for what we can do. Of course, what some of you might be wondering about Sunday West, the Nigerian we agreed to sign. He is not going to be joining us until November at the end of the Nigerian season. As part of his signing, I agreed to loan him back. I'm going to be honest, didn't really realise that the Nigerian season ended in November. But this guy looks very good. He was involved in the World Cup for Nigeria. In fact, no, it wasn't the World Cup, sorry. It was the African Cup of Nations with Nigeria, which they won 2-1. He played in every single game in goal. And he's been improving a lot with that international experience. Of course, only 18 years young, this keeper. And I think, come January, he is going to be big competition for Prevo. There are a few other players that I've agreed in principle to sign. One is a little bit odd. So Conte here, I'm still not sure if we're going to sign him. We have already got a deal agreed of £550,000 for him if we want to sign him, but we have already got quite a lot of talented centre-backs. The other player is this guy, Vadim Surov. Now, he's a free agent. He generated as a free agent. I found him because he was playing in the Russian under-21 squad as a 16-year-old that kind of stood out. He's agreed to join us. As you can see, he generated it as a free agent, but because he's Russian, he can't join us until he's 18. So for the next 2 years, he's going to be without a club. I'm not sure how that's going to impact his development. It'll be an interesting one, but yeah, a player who is going to be sat in this transfer activity for a few years whilst we eagerly anticipate his arrival. In terms of the team that we're going to go with this game, and for the majority of the season, this is how I see our best 11 right now. It's Prevo in goal, of course, the 22-year-old, now in his third year of playing under us. The season before, he was very heavily involved in the first team as well. At left-back, we are going to start Pendant. That is largely down to the fact that if we look here at Metellio, he has been out with a injury. He got a concussion, was out for a few weeks with it. He's still not fully recovered from that. So with that in mind, we're gonna keep him on the bench at least for now. In the centre-back positions, we are going to go with Jean Ruiz to start the season, sticking faith in him. Alongside him, we are going to go with Diarra. Now, that's going to kick up a bit of a fuss. As you know, Lacroix was kind of the standout player last year. You can see Lacroix is better in the air than Diarra, but Diarra is, significantly faster with 14 speed overall. And the issue I've got is Ruiz isn't super fast, 13 acceleration, 11 pace. Now with us playing in the top division, whilst there is less chance, I guess, of us being hit on the break a lot of the time, a lot of the times teams aren't going to be looking to counter against us. I do feel like with naturally more talented strikers who are going to be more athletic, playing two very slow centre-backs would be a bit of a death wish. So as a result, I'm putting Diarra in. I'm going to be hoping that his pace is enough to help Ruiz out kind of this year in terms of keeping up with faster strikers, because that could be a little bit of a concern this year. Anyway, right back, we're going to go with Diogo Dalot. Of course, a long-term loan, this guy, for 2 years from Porto. I'd love to be able to sign him at the end of all of that. He's a very exciting prospect. But nevertheless, he's going to be starting for us today. We're going to be playing Gregory Chevalier in the centre mid position. You'll notice that I have changed his nickname to Knight. I think it's going to be easier for all of us. Of course, he is our knight in shining armour. Last year had a very good second half to the season. This year, a big step up for him playing league football. He's well suited to it. He can still improve a lot. I feel like he's just going to develop amazingly over the course of this season, playing Ligue 1 football very regularly. Anyway, alongside him, we're going to go with Fuchs in the Mazzala role. I know some people are going to be annoyed because I've made him keep his number 2 shirt from last year where he played right back for us. But as a Mazzala, very good player indeed. Of course, a player who the last few seasons has been kind of forced to play right back, but with us now addressing that problem area, he's going to get a position slightly higher up the pitch. The front three is not that different really this year. It's going to be Trincao out on the left. Centre attack in mid, we're going to go with Ricky Martin. Out on the right, we are going to start the year with Douglas Pote. Now, the right mid positions last year was a bit of an interesting position because it was a real battle between Katongo and Pote. in terms of who I wanted to play there. Katongo kind of faster, perhaps a little bit better in the air, whereas Pote is a lot more technically gifted, albeit really struggled with injuries. For this year, at least for now, I'm sticking with Dougie Boy. His average ratings really haven't been that great over the last 2 years. He needs to start proving himself. Of course, we have got other options on the bench. Maroney could play out on the right-hand side for us if we want him to. Of course, he is right-footed. I know a lot of people kind of ask me, Jack, you're playing an inside forward on the right who's right-footed. Honestly, I genuinely have never really had that many problems with playing players, as inside forwards not cutting in on their stronger foot, especially in a more expressive system. Obviously, that's not it is what we're playing, so he's more likely to deviate from that inside forward role. Of course, it is going to be Ducasse up front this year, putting faith in him to continue what he's been doing. I have also made him club captain this year. He is our best leader in the club. Yes, he's 18, yes, he's young, but he's getting more and more experienced at international level, frequently playing in the French under-21s. And with 15 leadership, he seems like a ready-made player to play this kind of area of the pitch for us. Obviously as the striker, but also as kind of a real spearhead in the dressing room. So that's the team. On the bench, we've got Lacroix, Mattiello, Pana and Almeida are both going to be there. Pana perhaps going to feel a little hard done by to be on the bench. But if we look at his report, a leading player for Ligue 2 sides. Yes, he's consistent. Yes, he can improve in the future and the fans love him. But, and it's a big but, I want to continue to put faith in the youngsters, and I feel like Fuchs can do a job for us at Mazzala this year. If we just compare him and Pana a little more creative perhaps, but Fuchs better physicals, better speed, as defending and mentals are going to be better as well, and we are going to be called upon this year to do a lot more defending. Of course, the beauty of our club is that we do have a lot of strength and depth just across the team as a whole, in the midfield, in the more attacking areas, and so we can really look to change things up if we need to, and we have got plenty of rotation options. Anyway, just one more thing before we get into today's game. A little bit of interesting news. If we look at the Monaco and PSG situation, this summer both clubs changed managers. Antonio Conte has come to Monaco. And, if we look at PSG here, they have brought in Jose Mourinho. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting league this year with those two characters added in. But, generally speaking, I'm just really excited to get into this first year. It's going to be a big one. Let me know what you made of our transfer dealings down in the comments. Really, we've not done that much to change the first team this year. Dalot is going to be the only new starter in the starting 11. Of course, investing a lot in the future, a lot of younger players. The board expectation this year is to avoid a relegation fight. That is going to be difficult. I think, this year it's going to be tricky. But, we'll see how we get on. We're going to be starting here at home against Marseille. Of course, as I mentioned, they did come third in the league last year. However, we do have the option on the bench if the game doesn't quite go to plan. I have kind of come up with a contingency plan, which is this counter-attacking system. You might recognise it. It's very similar to the system that we played in our cup run last year. And if the game doesn't go to plan early on, that is definitely kind of the plan B that we're probably going to be rolling with. But yeah, let's see how we get on. It's the start of a new season. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. Lots of faith being put in the players who got us up this year. That might be a mistake on my behalf, but I feel like over the course of the last 2 seasons, a lot of these younger players really developed and proved themselves at Ligue 2 level. And we're going to give them a chance now to prove themselves at this level as, Knight has the ball here at the edge of the box. Dinks it into Ducasse. Be great to get him off to a scoring start to start the season. Drifting out wide. Crosses it in back post. Diarra. Can't get there. Fuchs, though. Oh, my God. You thought it might go in. It would have been an incredible start. The Di Canio-esque volley, unfortunately, blazed over the crossbar. Looking at the early stages, 15 minutes into this game, we've had over 60% of the ball. That is really impressive. We're creating a lot with it as well. We are taking the game to Marseille, which is exactly what I want to see here. Of course, it'd be nice if we could try and break the deadlock as well. And, right now, we are peppering their goal. Half an hour gone. Perfect start as far as we're concerned, with the exception of the fact we're yet to score. They're playing a 4-4-2, so there's going to be lots of gaps to exploit in their team. Looks like we're having a lot of shots from range here. We have already got work the ball into the box on, so there's not a whole lot more I can do to change things here. But half-time comes. Not a classic first half, but 0-0. I would have taken it at the start of the game against the team who finished third last year. I'm going to tell the players I'm far from pleased with what I've just seen. They look fired up. They look hungry for it. Looking at the average ratings, no one really performing that badly. Dougie Pote, the worst of the performers, alongside Trincao, actually. So, not ideal for our wide men. But, yeah, we've got options on the bench. I'd quite like to give Maroney, the Argentine who we signed from Boca, a chance in the team today. Maybe bring him on to play on that right-hand side. He's not super comfortable at playing right attacking mid, but it's certainly a role he can slot into and play. And, it might be a little bit reactionary, but I'm actually going to make this change quite early. Katongo might feel a little bit hard done by not to be the man coming on. as my sub screen appears to have stopped working. Can we do the sub this way? Let's try this way. That was weird. Right, Moroni coming in to play inside forward, making his debut. Made a name for himself in Argentina. Has been playing, but that could be a red card. It's a second yellow card for Gustavo. They have gone down a man here. I mean, maybe we should go more attacking now. I'm kind of curious to know how they're playing, but the widget to see exactly what they're doing has gone. I guess if we look here, we can see their formations. They're actually playing 3 centre mids now. They're still sticking with the 2 up top. Interesting. Moroni's in. Well, it's a good job we got Kitongo on the bench, isn't it? That's not the debut I wanted. I feel like that is peak work the space injury-ness there, isn't it, really? I'm going to tell the players to play wider because I want us to try and stretch the midfield. I think that's going to be very important for us now. We can try and keep the ball a little bit less, I feel like, and just be a little bit more direct in our play. But with them playing that narrow kind of midfield, I feel like it's in our interest. Although, actually, now they've changed things up. They've gone to the 4-man midfield. So now I don't want to do what I've just changed everything to be. We can go back to balance. We'll get rid of exploit the flanks. I was thinking if they were going to persist with the 3 centre mid formation that we might try and stretch them wide in the midfield and try and expose their fullbacks. But, well, it's an interesting game so far. I don't really want it to finish 0-0 because I feel like we've been the better team. But we have got to be wary here. Marseille have got quality to punish us if we are naive in our play. Knight, what a tackle that is to Kitongo. Still one option that we can make on off the bench to change things up. Fuchs playing that new centre mid role as the number 2. Gets tackled there. Crunching tackle comes in and now, well, Marseille going to try and hit us on the break perhaps. Sanson. Back to Raniel. We're just backing off here. Someone needs to put in a tackle, please. I mean, they've not got a whole lot of options going forward, have they? But they are knocking the ball around nicely here. Sanson, Raniel, Ruiz reads it. Big ball over the top. Ducasse has pace. He's in behind. Can he get his first goal of the season? He puts it wide. What a golden opportunity that was. It was the first real clear-cut chance of the game for us, and it's gone a begging. I've got one change I can make here. Martin's not the greatest game. Fuchs has done okay, but I'm going to take off Fuchs, which might not prove popular, but Panna, the long shot specialist, a player who we've called upon in times like this in the past to make a difference. Maybe he can do it today, although we need to defend this set piece and it's headed. Prevo holds on to it. I mean, part of me's would be thinking, oh, it'd be great to get a 0-0 draw against the team who finished 3rd. The other half of me's thinking, man, we've been all over them this game for large spells. We deserve more from this game. But we've yet to find the breakthrough. Martin, options on ahead. Ducasse, back to goal. Goes back wide to Dal at the right back. Kitongo falls over in mid-air there. Ball secondly put into the box. Cleared away. Trying to put pressure on Amavi, who gives it away, and Ducasse scores. It's a defensive howler. Aston Villa reject. Amavi trying to play it across his own box to his keeper. The pressure was really high here by us. It's really nice. We kind of alienated the fullback. And it's worked out for us. You can see a great pressure by Kitongo. Ducasse just reads it. I mean, it's not pretty, but I'll take it. And I feel like now it'd be wrong to actually go more defensive. I think we can go back to... Maybe we just go to standard now. Just to try and see out this game. But, well, if we could get a 1-0 victory here against Marseille to start the season, that would be the dream start. The board expectation this year, as I said, is to avoid relegation. Media prediction is 17th. I want to aim for a top half finish this year. I feel like that is attainable with the players that we've got. And if we can win this would be a great start to the season. Let's not kid ourselves. We've been all over them. And we've been the better team, and we're going to get it. I hope the Moroni injury isn't long-term, but what a start that is to the year. The Gustavo sending off definitely handicapped them a little. But, well, what a result that is. Fantastic baptism of fire that we've walked through and come out the other side of against Marseille. Moroni is going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. Not ideal for him. A debut cut very, very short, which is a little bit of a shame. In fact, does it say how long he was on the pitch? It wasn't very long, was it? Let's be honest. It wasn't very long. But yeah, 1-0. What a result that is. I'm very, very happy about that. That's exactly what we wanted. In terms of our fixtures, I was looking through it. We're not actually due to play PSG or Monaco until right at the end of the season, which could be a nice little blessing for us, really. In terms of fixtures we've got coming up, the Lyon game could be an interesting one. We'll see how we get on. We might do one of the games against Saint-Etienne or Lille. There's a few different clubs here who kind of stand out to me as teams that could be interesting to live-com. I feel like we'll see how the opening kind of 4 or 5 games go to the season, see who we're really competing with and kind of decide who we're going to play in episodes from there. But yeah, I do hope you enjoyed today's episode. A great result for us. Let me know what you make of the team as a whole. I feel like we've strengthened in some nice areas. Still putting a lot of faith in the players who brought us up. But, well, so far, Ducasse getting a goal to start the season, it's looking okay for us. And yeah, that's going to be all from me today, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. As I said, let me know what you made of my transfer business. Would you have done anything differently? Obviously, still a little bit of money to spend if we want to. And yeah, other than that, it is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.